The X Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X Zone Radio Show or endorsed in any manner by Rob McConnell, Relmar McConnell Media Company, the X Zone Broadcast Network, its affiliated networks, stations, employees, or advertisers.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Welcome back, everyone. Wow. The summer is going fast, isn't it? Seems just like last year this time we were getting ready for the summer equinox, and here we are on June the 14th. Beautiful hot day here in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, on the shores of Lake Ontario. And I'd just like to remind everyone before we continue with our guest this hour that the X-Chronicles newspaper for June and July 2018 is now available with our compliments at www.xchroniclesnewspaper.com. To date, 7,958 locations around the world have downloaded this edition of the X-Chronicles newspaper that has just been available for the last 4 days. My guest this hour is a gentleman by the name of Timothy Renner, and Timothy has written articles for several publications, including Morbid Curiosity, Weird USA, and Weird Pennsylvania. His illustrations have appeared in fanzines, comics, magazines, books, and on many record covers. He plays and sings folk music with his band Stone Breath. To date, they have released 12 full albums and multiple EPs. Timothy has studied various paranormal phenomena centered in central South Pennsylvania, with particular focus on the legend of Toad Road and Seven Gates of Hell. His website, strangefamiliars.com. And Timothy, welcome to the X Zone.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Wow. How strange is South Central Pennsylvania?
Well, I used to say I would think it didn't matter where I lived. I'd find the strangeness wherever. But as I've done the podcast and kind of focused on the area, I've kind of changed my mind, and I think there is something there's something special about Pennsylvania in general as far as weird activity.
Tell us about the legend of Toad Road.
Oh, that's for York County, Pennsylvania, which is where I live. That's probably the most famous legend of the county. There was a sort of a B horror movie made about it, about the legend. So it goes, there was an insane asylum that burnt down there, and the area is haunted by the ghosts of these victims of an insane asylum. That's not the real story. There was never an insane asylum there. In fact, there's never been an insane asylum anywhere in York County, Pennsylvania. The real story has to do with cryptids, I found, and specifically Bigfoot. There's something called the hide behind in Pennsylvania legends and folklore. And the legend that I first heard about Toad Road when I first moved to the area was simply don't look behind you on Toad Road. And the things people were reporting from the area weren't ghost-like at all. They were very much cryptid-like. They were red eyes shining from the woods and things pacing them from the woods, screams and dark shadows,
Wow.
peeking from around trees and so forth. So it was very much like cryptid activity. So as I dug into that mystery, I found that what they were probably talking about when the legend said "Don't look behind you" was this creature called the hide behind, which seems to be a folkloric name for Bigfoot in Pennsylvania.
Are there a lot of Bigfoot sightings besides the ones on Toad Road in Pennsylvania?
Across the state, we have a lot. I think we're probably third or fourth in the U.S. for Bigfoot sightings.
Any idea why?
It depends if you think of it as a natural creature or something else. If it's a natural creature, people tend to think of Pennsylvania, they think of Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, but there's a lot of trees, there's a lot of open space in the middle there. It's a very, very big state. So if you think of it as a natural creature, there's plenty of habitat in the middle of the state, even though there's plenty of sightings on the east and west side as well. But if it's not a natural creature, then we get into other theories, all of which are simply theories at this point.
What is the most popular theory?
Well, I think the most popular is that it's probably a undiscovered primate. Following that, maybe a relict hominid of some sort, some sort of ancient human ancestor. And then I think quickly gaining, though, is what used to be called woo in the Bigfoot community, or still is. And that is the idea that these creatures might be somehow from another dimension or related to some kind of paranormal activity.
I've heard many reports from many people when it comes to Bigfoot. There's a connection between Bigfoot and UFO sightings. Have you come across any of that in Pennsylvania?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Stan Gordon was really the first guy to document that, and he documented several cases on the western side of the state of Bigfoot in conjunction with UFOs, either UFOs being seen around the same time as Bigfoot sightings or sometimes at the same time. He even has one sighting I know of, and maybe possibly more, of a UFO landing in a field and Bigfoot creatures being in the same field at the same time. So it's been well documented by other authors. And then when I started digging into my area in South Central Pennsylvania, I absolutely found the same thing. Where there are UFO sightings, there are Bigfoot sightings. Usually, I say half jokingly, but it's only half jokingly. Show me a Bigfoot sighting in Pennsylvania, and I'll find you a UFO sighting around the same place within a few days. And again, it's not always true. It's not 100% true, but it's true often enough where it should be noted.
Are UFO sightings in Pennsylvania up these days?
Well, I don't follow the UFO sightings as close as I do Bigfoot, but I can tell you this year for my area is the busiest year for Bigfoot I've had yet. Since I've been seriously looking into this, I've gotten a lot of calls.
Really?
Yeah.
Is there any specific time of day that you get most of your calls, or is there any similarity between the calls that you get pertaining to Bigfoot? I mean, besides the fact that people are seeing Bigfoot.
No, it's usually there's a few questions I'll ask. It's usually what creek were you near, and it's almost always near a creek or a river. Beyond that, the sightings really change. If it's someone who has them on their property, they tend to be a different kind of sighting and an ongoing thing. Most of the sightings are either someone sees it in the woods, or by far the most common sighting is the roadside crossing kind of thing. Someone's driving and they'll see a creature.
Based on your experience, Tim, why do you think proof positive has not been established in once and for all settling the dispute that, Bigfoot is real?
I think there's something very, very strange about the creature, and what it is, I can't put my finger on it. I think that's part of the mystery. I think there's a reason why we can't get a good, clear photograph of them. I think there's a reason why they don't show up on trail cams. I mean, we've got thousands and thousands of trail cams out in the woods all over America. Sure. We haven't got a clear picture. I think there's a reason why people often are affected for their entire life after seeing one, and often in, unfortunately, very negative ways. There's something very, very strange about this creature. If it is a natural creature, like I said, if it's something paranormal, then maybe that goes to explain more of people's reactions and the reasons why it doesn't show up on film and so forth.
Have you yourself had an experience to see Bigfoot?
Well, I've seen something.
Yeah.
I didn't catch. It was very, very quick. It was very large. It was larger than anything that should be in York County, Pennsylvania, and it moved quickly and silently. But I didn't get a look at its head. It seemed like its head was down, and it was moving quadrupedal, which it doesn't eliminate Bigfoot. There are a lot of reports of them dropping down to all fours and moving like that. But it was very, very large. We don't have elk here anymore, and we don't have moose here anymore. So beyond that, I don't know what it could have been, but I can't say it was a Bigfoot for sure.
Wow. You were talking earlier about reports that you get. How many would you get in the space of a month about people seeing Bigfoot?
Well, a normal month, I might get one. It'd be if I get 5 reports a year normally, that would be a good year. But I've gotten probably 4 or 5 reports in the past 2 months.
Wow! All in the same area or throughout the state?
Yeah, this is just York County. I guess hopefully I'm getting known as the York County Bigfoot guy, and maybe that's why that's happening. Or I don't know if it's an especially more active than usual year, but I've gotten quite a few reports this year.
All right, stand by, Timothy. You and I have to take our first break. Exonation Timothy Renner is our special guest. www.strangefamiliars.com. That's www.strangefamiliars.com. As I was saying to Nick Redfern earlier tonight, in this June-July edition of the X-Chronicles newspaper, we have two farewell pages. One is to our good friend Brad Steiger, who passed away in the month of May, and as well as legendary talk show host Chuck Harder, who I had the pleasure of working with for many years at Talkstar Radio in White Springs broadcast in Florida. The website for the newspaper, www.xchroniclesnewspaper.com. And we'll be back on the other side of this break as we continue talking about Bigfoot and much more with our guest this hour, Timothy Renner, here in the X Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone radio show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone broadcast network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
You have heard of the X Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV, plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X Zone, sci-fi, and horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world. Interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
We live in rapidly shifting times of extreme volatility and uncertainty. Such profound change brings a unique opportunity for the evolution of consciousness. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka, host of Mission Evolution Radio Show, a program that explores the latest scientific developments and deepening spiritual truths supporting human evolution. Join me on xzbn.net, where I interview leading experts in science, physics, medicine, spirituality, and more. By applying divergent viewpoints to leading-edge topics, we uncover expansive and evolutionary truth to assist you on your path to enlightenment. More information and past episodes are available at missionevolution.org.
Matthew Renner is our special guest this hour, strangefamiliars.com. And Tim, we were talking about Bigfoot in your neck of the woods in Pennsylvania. Has there been any indication of the social life that Bigfoot leads? For example, have researchers in Pennsylvania come across what they believe to be Bigfoot homesteads? And if so, what can you tell us about Bigfoot?
To my knowledge, there's been nothing hard found. Every now and then someone will say, oh, I think I found a nest. But it's the same with these kind of tree structures that people find. Unless you see the creatures making them, you can't really say that's a nest or that for sure they made those tree structures. It's likely they did, and I look at those tree structures as they appear in the areas where people are seeing the creatures and where there's other activity reported, such as screams or eye shine or something that might indicate Bigfoot. But until we really see one being built by a creature, we can't 100% say, this is built by a creature. And the fact that we can't figure out their living situation or their social situation, and there are some folks who say they have. There are some folks who swear they live in troops, and there's an alpha male and so forth. I don't know what they actually base that information on, or if they're just guessing based on other primates. But to my knowledge, no one's actually seen and recorded this behavior. So it's a big question. It's a big problem. I wrote an article for a series of books called Wood Knocks that David Weatherly released in Volume 3, and I concentrated on 8 square miles of the county I live in York County. And there's such an extreme number of sightings there that start in the 1880s and go on through the 2000s that I have to wonder, what's going on. The sightings occur all times a year, and there's not enough wooded area to support a family group of these creatures. So that really leaves only 2 options. They either migrate through the area, or something very, very strange, as I said, is going on. They're either, teleporting in or going into portals or what have you. I don't have the answer, but I can say with confidence that I just don't think there's enough land for a family group to live in that 8 square miles. So the question becomes, why are people seeing this creature so often in these 8 square miles? Why are they there? Is it traveling through the area? If so, for what reason? Again, it's all times a year, so it's not a seasonal migration. There's just a lot of questions. Unfortunately, there's more questions than answers, and I've come to the point where I've had to sort of settle with myself and just settle that I'm not going to probably have the answers in my lifetime. It doesn't mean I'll stop looking.
Sure. But
I think this mystery's been around far longer than I have, and it will probably be here for a long time after I'm gone.
What role do you think urban development has on the increased sightings of Bigfoot?
Yeah, I think there is something to that. Again, whether we're encroaching on their land or just areas they frequent for whatever reason, I think that's one of the reasons why I did the book Bigfoot in Pennsylvania. And my follow-up book was West Coast Wildmen, which had to do with California, Oregon, and Washington State. And I thought going into it that the West Coast book would be far thicker than the Pennsylvania book, given it was, that's Bigfoot land out there. But the Pennsylvania book is much, much thicker. And I think it has to do with there were more people here in the 1800s and early 1900s than there were out west. And so it's more people to see creatures and more newspapers to report on them. I think it comes down to that.
How did you get interested in the paranormal?
I think I was born in the golden age of kind of Bigfoot. I was born in 1970. The Patterson-Gimlin film had just come out. In Search Of was on TV when I was a kid. And The Legend of Boggy Creek and movies like that. It really just fired me up. So that was my original interest in Bigfoot. And I was always interested in folklore. I was very, very interested in local ghost stories and legend tripping before I even knew what legend tripping was. I always wanted to go and see the haunted places and see anything like that I could get to. As I grew older, I kind of fell out of it when I got to high school and college and stuff. And then as an adult, I looked up Bigfoot on the internet one day, and I was really surprised at what I found. And then I started writing some paranormal articles, and one of the things I worked on for Weird USA kind of turned into my first book, which is Beyond the Seventh Gate. But I found so many Bigfoot sightings locally for that, and I thought I might find one or two, but I found so many. There's between 50 and 100 in that book, and that was really, I was just scratching the surface at that time. That it just really fired me up and got me excited about the topic, and I kind of jumped in with both feet, and that was about 5 years ago now.
Tell me about the 7 Gates of Hell.
Well, that was to do with the so-called insane asylum, and supposedly the town of York, or Hellam, which is actually where that is located, had erected 7 gates that were supposed to keep people away from the ruins of this so-called insane asylum. And the gates, somehow, as you pass through each gate, things would get more horrible and spookier and scarier. And supposedly no one ever made it back from the 7th gate. There are not 7 gates on Toad Road. There's 1 gate at the end. There was originally another legend associated with the area. It has to do with an iron gate outside of a doctor's house that was near Toad Road, and I think that's how the sort of 7 Gates of Hell thing stuck to that area. It's really just 100% urban legend.
So what you do is you create a legend to keep people away from the property, and it works.
Or it backfires, and kids go there all the time.
Why do you think there's so much interest in the paranormal these days?
I would guess for me, I think we're missing folklore. Folklore was such a big part of our lives, and it really connected us to the places we lived. In our ancestors from Europe or from Africa or wherever they were, they had these folk tales that told them about the earth and taught them lessons about the areas they lived. And we kind of lost that. And I think the paranormal is a way to get back into that folklore. It's a way for people to connect with the areas they live in again.
I like the way you put that. We talked briefly about the Patterson film. What's your take on it? Was that really a Bigfoot?
I think it is. And I'm not an expert on primate locomotion, nor am I a film expert, but just as a layperson, looking at that and looking at the evidence that was presented as far as what suits were available at the time, it seems to be far too good of a suit, if it was a suit, that the special effects people at the time just couldn't have even made one, much less a Roger Patterson, who really wasn't, he didn't have all the money in the world to, make a special effects costume to take out in the woods and just to have a hoax film he could put out.
But Roger Patterson,
the locomotion of the creature as well is very odd. It's very not human.
Why do you think, with all the technology we have today, that you've got Roger Patterson, who went horseback riding with Bob Gimlin into the mountains, they come across this Bigfoot with a 16-millimeter camera. They take this infamous film. And here we are, the year 2018. Everybody has a high-definition camera in their cell phone. And the pictures that we're getting today are next to nothing compared to the photos that were being acquired, whether it's in the UFO field, Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, years ago.
Yeah, and there may be something to the fact that they're all digital devices. A lot of times electronic equipment fails around not just Bigfoot, but UFOs and ghosts and all things paranormal. Batteries will drain and things will shut off. That could possibly be part of it. The fact that it was an analog camera he was using back at the time, maybe that was part of it. And maybe he just got that 1 in a million shot.
If Roger Patterson did not have his reputation as being kind of a showman, do you think that the Bigfoot film would have had more credibility than it does now in the skeptical division?
Possibly. Skeptics will be skeptics. I'm married to a pretty hardcore skeptic, and we have some wonderful conversations. I'm happily married. I think it's good to have a skeptic around to keep me in check. But that is even she doesn't have too many arguments for when the experts step in and point out things like the length of the arms on the creature. Which they didn't think of doing arm extensions in gorilla costumes in 1968. It just wasn't a thing. So even she kind of wrestles with that, and I think, would probably say that's one of the best pieces of evidence I present. But that said, a skeptic will find a reason. I mean, there's no convincing someone that it's not someone in a suit, when they've decided that. And I think it might have helped if there were two Bob Gimlins there instead of one Roger Patterson and one Bob Gimlin.
Right.
Because Bob is certainly beyond reproach, I think, as far as his reputation and so forth. But I think skeptics will be skeptics no matter what. That's the problem with film in general. I don't think a picture's not going to do it anymore. A film's not going to do it anymore.
We're going to need a cadaver.
I mean, it could be, yeah.
All right, stand by. You and I have to take our news break at the bottom of the hour. Exxon Nation Timothy Renner's our guest, and his website is strangefamiliars.com. That's www.strangefamiliars.com. And we'll both be back on the other side of the news as we continue investigating the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology right here in the X-Zone, Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. Eastern until 2 a.m. Eastern on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, Talkstar Radio Network, Mutual Broadcast Network, Simul Radio, and iHeartRadio. Don't go away.
Broadcast studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, to the world and beyond. You're watching the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
AVS Media Den.
You have heard of the X-Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV, plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X-Zone, Sci-Fi, and Horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world, interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365. Rob McConnell here, presenting an overview for Nicholas Paul Jennings, author of a fascinating book, Amen. It presents facts revealed by Egyptologists, facts that enable us to understand why Amen is the beginning of creation of God. It provides recommendations for religious leaders of the major religions to unify their beliefs and teach the Word of God. Love one another. Amen informs people how mankind conceived God. It was the Egyptians that developed the concepts of a soul, a hereafter, and Son of God. And finally, after the worship of many gods, they conceived the belief in one universal God, the maker of all there is.
For more information, visit www.futureofgodamen.com. That's www.futureofgodamen.com.
Tim Renner is our guest, Exonation, www.strangefamiliars.com. Don't forget the X Chronicles newspaper is available for you online with our compliments at www.xchroniclesnewspaper.com. All right, besides Bigfoot, what really interests Tim when it comes to the paranormal?
Like I said, I'm very interested in folklore, so I like reading and connecting these folklore stories from really all across the world. For instance, I will make connections between, my friend Joshua Cutchins made a lot of connections between the Fae folklore and modern paranormal stuff, be it UFOs or Bigfoot. But I've started to find connections between a lot of Norse folklore and Bigfoot sightings, just some weird, odd things. For instance, there's a lot of warnings about urinating in the woods and otherwise defecating in the woods in the folklore, and they say to warn the nature spirits and to apologize when you do. And there are a heck of a lot of Bigfoot sightings that go wrong immediately after people urinate in the woods. And many people have said, well, this is because they're territorial and they think you're marking their territory. Maybe, but I find it very, very interesting that this old folklore talks about the nature spirits getting very angry and very upset when people urinate in the woods. So things like that, I get very, very fascinated by connecting old folklore and modern accounts.
Is it possible that Bigfoot is actually one of our keepers, one of our guardians of the planet?
It's possible. When people say they're like the guardians of the forest and so forth, I do kind of question that a little bit, just because they tend to do a lot of damage to trees. I mean, they really beat up trees, especially when they're angry or they want to do a strength display. It seems like they'll rip trees out of the ground, they'll snap trees, they'll break trees. So I wonder, if are they really forest guardians, or if they're tearing up trees? It's just a question I have, but it's quite possible they could be some sort of nature deity or nature spirit or something.
But how do we know Bigfoot are ripping out trees and destroying trees if nobody's seen them do this?
Well, people have seen them snap branches and break trees in displays of anger. They've seen that. They've just not seen them build these tree structures necessarily, to my knowledge. But I have read reports where people have come upon a creature and it's turned around and snapped a bunch of big branches as if to say, don't follow me, look what I can do, and headed off into the woods.
What other kind of folklore or urban legends do you follow?
Well, I'll track down just about anything that I can get to. I like to go to the places. My first book, I think every place I wrote about, I visited and made sure to put boots on the ground. With my podcast, a lot of the stuff we do is just on site. We'll go places. I'll take a portable recorder with me if I'm on a Bigfoot encounter investigation, and I'll just kind of leave the tape running. Or if there's a haunted place, we did a haunted church one time, where we just took a bunch of recorders in and recorded the whole night we stayed there.
Do you believe in ghosts?
In as much as I believe in Bigfoot, I believe that people are seeing something. I don't know that it's necessarily the spirits of the dead. It could be, but I think there's a possibility that it could be something else people are experiencing, or something that maybe takes the shape or the form of dead people for whatever reason.
When you were doing the haunted investigation that you were on, tell us about it. Where were you? What did you find? And
It was an old church in Columbia, Pennsylvania, which is right across the river from York County, where I am. It was no longer used as a church. It's actually the Historical Society in Columbia, and it's an awesome place to visit if you're interested in history. They have a really interesting long history with the Underground Railroad throughout the town. Excellent town. They do an Albatwitch festival there every October, which is a sort of a paranormal festival. There's a little creature called the Albatwitch locally that's kind of like we call it the little Bigfoot. It's not a young Bigfoot. It seems to be a separate creature entirely, but it's a small hair-covered thing. And they have a Albatwitch festival in Columbia every year, so that's really neat. So it's just a neat little kind of historical town. But this church is where the Historical Society is now in Columbia. And I'm friends with the director, and he let us stay the night. So we set up cameras and we set up recorders and had some ghost equipment on loan. We didn't get a whole heck of a lot. There was one cold spot, and we got some interesting sounds, not even EVPs. They kind of weird drone sounds that shouldn't have been there around the same time. When I played the tapes back, it was around the same time and certainly in the same room where we found the cold spots. But other than that, we didn't really have a heck of a lot of activity there.
What do you think about these TV shows that show all this? They're supposed to be reality TV shows when it comes to paranormal, ghost hunting, things that go bump the night. Do you think that they add to the credibility of the paranormal and what is going on, or do they detract from it?
Well, if they pretend to be science, then they're probably doing a disservice. Mm-hmm. If it's about the experience, I absolutely have no problem with it. They're just going out to experience the areas and document their experience and so forth. In general, I think it's just the only danger is that popular trends kind of come and go, and in their wake they kind of leave a little bit of a void. And I think that would be the only problem or the only danger with them. In general, I don't watch them, so I don't know too much, about them. I've seen them, of course. I've seen, a few of them, but I can't name a specific show. I just know, it was a night vision camera in a haunted space,
Well, they all have night vision cameras. They all go to haunted places, so they're all one and the same when it comes to that. But my question to many paranormal researchers is, why? What are you trying to accomplish? Why do you keep going to the same old places that other people keep going to? Aren't there any new haunted places that ever come up?
Yeah, I mean, that's a fantastic question. Another question that my wife and I have brought up on the podcast, mm-hmm. She will occasionally come on and be the skeptic, as I said, is why are ghosts always Victorian? It seems like 90% of ghosts that people see are Victorian. I think probably it has something to do with that's when photography originates, and that's when people started to see people. So there's something in their mind that the oldest people they have seen outside of paintings, but the oldest people they've seen, like real photographs of, are Victorians. So I think that probably has something to do with that. Legend tripping is powerful. People like to go to places that have legends associated with them. It's again, I think that goes back to the folklore thing and connecting people to the areas they live.
But it seems like the paranormal, or what's it called, paratourism, is making a giant-sized mockery out of the real people who are into the paranormal, because you've got towns, cities, municipalities who are just cashing in on the paranormal. Look what happens at Roswell. The Roswell Festival is more of a circus than anything else, and personally I think it detracts. That what it does is shows, all right, so you've got something here and you're going to capitalize on it.
Yeah, and Gettysburg is now more of a ghost economy than it is a Civil War economy there. Historical economy there. It's the whole town is just ghost hunting. So, in some ways, maybe someone comes for the ghosts and learns a bit of history too. I don't know. I don't, like I said, I think it's probably something that will fade. It's probably something that's very, exciting and sort of trendy right now. And it will fade, and what we'll be left will be the sort of hardcore people.
I don't know if it's going to fade or not, because I've been doing this show now for 28 years. And the popularity is growing. When new people come into the flock and become paranormal investigators, they're younger and they stay longer. And the same old ghost stories, the same old apparitions, the same old spooks, the same old haunts are the mainstay. With all of these investigators out there, for example, Southern California alone, 1,500 different paranormal groups. That's just in Southern California.
Wow.
Yeah, so with all these people out there, night after night after night after night, nothing being found or nothing being credibly established, I'm still trying to figure out what the draw is.
Yeah, and a lot of folks, in my opinion, aren't asking the right questions. Like I said, I think it's just too easily accepted that when we talk about ghosts and hauntings, that these are the spirits of dead people. I that's taken as a given among people, and I don't think that's necessarily the case. I'm not saying it's anything more sinister, like a demon or something like that. I'm just saying it could be something we don't understand. And there are so many connections across the paranormal in regards to Bigfoot sightings. Me and again, my friend Joshua Cutchin is a fellow author, have noted, and Josh was the first one to bring this up to me, that a lot of these Bigfoot encounters where people don't see a creature, they just get screamed at, smell a bad smell, maybe get a stone thrown at them. If that happened inside your house, that would be a poltergeist. You would call that a poltergeist. But because they're in the woods, they call it a Bigfoot. But it's the exact same thing people are reporting, inside their houses. Well, so there are these connections that need to be explored.
All right, stand by. You and I have to take our final break. Exo Nation, our guest this hour is Timothy Renner. His website is strangefamiliars.com, and we'll both be back on the other side as we wrap up this hour here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada.
You have heard of the X Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV, plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X Zone, Sci-Fi, and Horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world. Interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
The new nonfiction book, Razor of Madness, is similar to cult movies like Clockwork Orange, Dragon's Tattoo, or The Other Side of Hell. Wayne Morin Jr. and Thomas Lee Howe will expose widespread and systematic deficiencies in this thought-provoking tell-all novel. Mind control rages among scholars in law schools. Human rights are ignored while thought reform and mental manipulation are accepted practices used as behavior modification. Dr. Louis Jolyon West comes to mind. Media and public scrutiny shows that United States mental hospitals are in fact destructive murder industries. Razor of Madness expose novel details this epidemic through an in-depth professional and personal investigation. For decades, there has been a revolving door policy that still releases killers and pedophiles back into society. The maestro of mind control continues to haunt America to this very day. Razor of Madness is available in paperback or as a downloadable ebook at Amazon.com.
The concept of a new age has been around since the late 19th century, yet much of its original meaning has been lost. What exactly is the new age? Is it a religion, a collection of obscure esoteric practices, a series of doomsday predictions, or an astrological event? The New Age Chronicles is a unique, complementary publication bringing reason and grounded information to separate fact from fiction. chock full of valuable information to support you as we make the monumental shift into the new era. You won't want to miss a single innovative issue. The New Age Chronicles newspaper is coming soon to www.newagechronicles.com.
Nation, my guest this hour, Timothy Renner. His website is strangefamiliars.com. First of all, Tim, thanks so much for joining us on the show tonight. Great pleasure talking to you. You're a musician. Tell us about your musical career.
Well, I'm a folk guy, so I like folklore.
Uh-huh.
I like folk tales. I like folk music. So I do folk music. It's generally about paranormal topics. At least lately, a lot of the songs I write. Or I do a lot of traditional music as well, and there's a lot of traditional songs that have their basis in different paranormal things. A lot of ghosts and magic and witches in traditional songs.
Can you give us a couple of examples?
Oh my goodness. Well, let's see. The one I've been doing lately is called "The Cruel Mother," or I know it as the Dreadful Wind and Rain. It's known as "The Cruel Mother" in the UK, and that has to do with a sister. It's the cruel sister, rather, in the UK. A sister who tricks her other sister. They're both competing for the affections of a knight, and she tricks her to go on a walk and pushes her younger sister in the water where she drowns. And minstrels come along and make a fiddle out of her bones, and then the fiddle actually sings the song and tells the tale of her murder. So it's a lot of things like that in traditional songs.
Wow. 12 albums. Where do you get the time to do the Bigfoot investigating, the writing, as such a busy musician?
I started the music in 1995, so I've been doing that a good deal longer than writing the books. That said, the books have sort of taken over. They're a little bit more successful than my music, which is fine. I'm happy doing whatever. I like doing both, so it's not a problem. But at some point, I'll have a book that will combine that will talk about the paranormal in folk music, and I can combine the two. But that's down the road a little bit.
Sounds like it'll be a bestseller.
I hope so.
How do you think Bigfoot investigations should be conducted?
Ooh, that is a difficult question, because I'm still finding my way with that. As I said, I've been doing this 5 years. That makes me, compared to some of the guys out there, that makes me a baby.
All right. So based on your experience, all right, this way here we're giving it a clean slate. So based on your experience, how do you, Tim Renner, believe the best way to do a Bigfoot investigation is?
For me personally, I need to get to the area as soon as possible. I would like to get there the next day, or even that night if I can. The soonest I've gotten there has been the following day with some of these reports. I want to be able to look for evidence there on the scene as soon as possible. Footprints, hair, again, these tree structures, even though, like I said, we can't say for sure Bigfoot make them, but they do tend to pop up, and so forth. Because if you get there as soon as possible, the chances of finding stuff are a lot better. There are some Bigfoot organizations in the state of Pennsylvania that are located on the other side of the state, and I tell people, go ahead if you want to report to them, please do. But if you're local to me, please report to me as well, because I can get there. They will send somebody out, but it might be a year or more before somebody gets there. I'll get there, within a day if I can. Wow. Sometimes, if possible, I get there the same day. So that's really, really important. For me personally, I need to experience the area. I want to put boots on the ground. I want to get as close as I can to experience what the witness experienced, see the surroundings and so forth, and add my experiences to that of the witness. Because unfortunately, there's not a heck of a lot of hard science. We have the best we have, are evidence-wise, seems to be witness reports.
Why do you think that real science is not getting involved in the total investigation of the paranormal?
I think it's a third rail kind of thing. I don't think they want to touch it. It's too easily derided amongst their peers. I think it's to be seen as a skeptic is to be seen as reasoned. Even though a true skeptic I think would be open to what these witnesses are reporting and so forth. But the sort of hard skeptic is seen as more reason than someone who's willing to listen to witnesses talk about what is frankly weird stuff.
But science and archaeology and paleontology and all the other accredited sciences, we know they've lied to us in the past. So why don't you think why don't they think that we'd give them a pass and say, all right, come on, let bygones be bygones and let's just find out what the heck is going on? Because I'm sure when somebody has a Bigfoot experience, it changes their lives. How do they cope with that change of actually seeing, hearing, smelling what the majority of people in the world believe is a myth?
Oh yeah, and I've talked to several witnesses who have nightmares. There's one local fellow. He had his encounter in 1974, and he still has nightmares.
Oh my gosh.
In regards to this, he's very much. I mean, I'm not a psychologist. I can't diagnose him with post-traumatic stress, but it seems like he has post-traumatic stress regarding this encounter. That doesn't happen with bears. People see a bear in the woods. That doesn't happen. So there's something very odd going on here. Again, but as far as why science, wouldn't want to jump in on this, my hope is that someone maybe from the Jungian side of psychology wants to start, and I think Jung would have been on it if he was around today. Maybe someone like from that sort of discipline will start, and we can start looking at things with open minds and at least open the door.
In the Bigfoot Society in Pennsylvania, do they openly share information with other groups? Because I've heard one of the major complaints in the UFO community, ghost and other aspects of the paranormal, is that the information is not shared. The information is kept very close. The findings during investigations are kept very close because people are hoping that they will find the smoking gun.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. That's it depends on the organization. It depends on the individual within that organization. But it's hard to get people to share information. Some of that is practical. I mean, there's a lot of when a witness calls me, sometimes it's like pulling teeth to get them to talk and to get them to let you on their property. I can understand if they want to keep those particulars out. But the general reports, I would hope they would share, but a lot of times they're not. They're just not being shared.
That's too bad, because I'm sure that, for example, when I was in the police force, we shared all the information, not only with the police forces in Quebec or Ontario, but right across Canada and into the United States. And that's the only way you caught the bad guy, was by sharing the information that you had on the suspect. So I find it very hard to understand why the same courtesy and the same sharing of information is not done within the paranormal community if, in fact, they want to have these questions answered.
Yeah, there seems to be a desire to control at least the flow of information for various reasons. I mean, I was told by more than one person, believe it or not, that I should have asked, and this was a quote, the big names in Bigfoot before I titled my book, Bigfoot in Pennsylvania.
You're kidding.
I'm not kidding. Is absolutely the truth. One person came very forcefully, and another came in the guise of a concerned friend. And I of course ignored both of them. I'm going to title my book what I want to title.
Sure, exactly. Unbelievable ego. It's one of the worst assets that humanity has. Listen, speaking of books, any new books coming out?
I'm working on a few. I'm working on a follow-up to these historical Bigfoot sightings. So I've done Pennsylvania. I've done the West Coast. I'm coming back to the East. I'm not sure what area I'm doing next. It probably won't be. It will be a collection of states. Probably it might be the southern East Coast or New England or something. So I'm still working on those. I have a follow-up to my first book that I'm working on, and I'm working on a couple other things, including a graphic novel. So that's all too early to really talk too much about those. But the Bigfoot books and the follow-up to my first book are on the way.
All right, listen, when they're all finished and you're starting to get them out there, let us know. We'll get you back on to discuss those books as well as a Bigfoot update from the state of Pennsylvania. Do me a favor, let our listeners know where they can buy your books and where they can buy your music and how they can find out more about you.
Okay, Amazon.com has the books. It's probably easiest for everybody. People are often concerned, is that the best place? Well, they're split as far as with me as an independent author is very fair. However, if you want to get signed copies, you can contact me through strangefamiliars.com. That's my podcast, but all the contact information goes right to me. So if you want signed copies or if you want my music or anything like that, you can find more information at Strange Familiars or just contact me through that website.
Timothy, I want to thank you ever so much for joining us tonight. A great pleasure talking to you. Do me a favor, don't be a stranger. If anything comes up that you'd like to share with us here on the X-Zone, we'd love to hear back from you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Take care of yourself, Tim. X-Zone Nation, Timothy Renner has been our guest this hour. StrangeFamiliars.com is his website, and his books are available on Amazon.com. All you need to do is go to Amazon.com or Amazon CA and type in Timothy Renner, and that's TimothyRenner. I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break with the news at 6.5 minutes past the top of the hour as we continue here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center and offices in beautiful Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. People say, Rob, where is Hamilton? Well, if you take a map, because you don't have Google Earth, and you look out the Lake Ontario, you see Toronto, you see on the north part of the Lake Ontario, you see Niagara Falls, the southern part. Hamilton is smack dab in between in what we call the Golden Horseshoe. My name is Rob McConnell. This is the X-Zone. Our website is www.xzoneradiotv.com, and for all the programming available on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net. And for your copy of the X-Chronicles newspaper with our compliments, www.xchroniclesnewspaper.com.
Modern Esoteric, Beyond Our Senses by Brad Olson, consummates the lifology story about where humanity originates. It is the lost continents, the primitive wisdom, the mythos of creation, and the rethinking of ancient history as we are taught in academia. There is much more to the story than what we have been told. As this is the first book in the Esoteric series, Modern Esoteric starts at the beginning of time and accelerates up to this modern age. Future Esoteric is book 2 in the series and takes a forward-looking position ahead of today with an open and honest examination of the ET issue and various unexplained phenomena. To discover the writings of author Brad Olson, visit www.bradolson.com. That's www.bradolson.com. Are you or is someone you know struggling with addictions, depression, anxiety, relationships, low self-esteem, lack of confidence, grief, success, and prosperity? Do you know that your subconscious belief plays a big role in the outcome of your hard work? We can help you permanently change the beliefs that may be the reason for your struggles and failures. We care about getting you the return on your investment and the results you are looking for. We can help you be free of the limitations of your past and in realizing your highest potential. We work with people by phone and Skype. For more information, visit us at www.ritasoman.com. That's www.ritasoman.com. Do you think you have energy problems in your home? Do you feel better when you're away than when you're home? Joey Korn is a global leader in the world of dowsing who specializes in personal energy clearing and space clearing. He can help you create an ideal energy environment in your home no matter where you live in the world. Learn about his remote spiritual house cleaning services and much more at www.dowsers.com. You can get Joey's book, Dowsing, A Path to Enlightenment, as well as other dowsing books and tools, Kabbalah books, and Walter Russell books. Joey's work is really amazing. Go to dowsers.com right now. That's DOWSERS.com, or call 1-877-DOWSING. That's 1-877-369-7464.